Hey guys, this is Dave, your mortgageguy.com. And in this video, I'm going to break down how the realtor's commission for a buyer can be paid in your real estate transaction, right? This is all the news, and it's important to know all your options when it comes to this, whether you're a realtor talking to a client or a client watching this video. But first, so there's about 7 ways that the commission for a realtor, if you're the buyer, can be paid at closing, and different ways of structuring it. And in here, I want to go over all of them so that way you know what's out there and what's possible. So number one, at the time of this video, that the seller can still pay the real estate commission for a buyer. And based on my research, that's going to continue to be the case. So when negotiating, you can negotiate that commission being paid by the seller out of the contract. So being paid directly to the agent. As the buyer, you could obviously pay it. That's the second option, is paying that commission to your realtor at closing. Or number 3 is splitting that per the contract. So seller is going to pay maybe half of the commission, and then you would pay the other half of the commission to your agent. Now, let's say that you're tight on funds. You could go with a gift. So you could ask family for the additional money you may need at closing. You can ask for a seller contribution. This is going to be one that's going to be used a lot and is important to know what you're up against. All loan types have a max seller contribution. So on FHA, it's 6% when you're putting down the minimum, 6% of the sales price. So if you need additional seller contribution and some money to pay toward the realtor commissions, you can do that, but make sure you fit within the guidelines. Like on a conventional 3% down, you only can get 3% seller contribution from the seller. This is different than the commissions being paid out. This is seller contribution. So per the closing, the seller is going to pay a flat amount toward your closing costs. Your buyer's commission would be in those closing costs, which I want to stop right here. When you're getting pre-approved for a mortgage, make sure that this is addressed. If you're a realtor, you want to make sure that the lenders you work with are addressing this topic in advance and going over those numbers. Don't have surprises.
Surprise!
And if you're a buyer, don't just shop with anybody online. Make sure that they know the area and they take these costs into account and what's kind of expected. Otherwise, you're going to have a big surprise at closing when Rocket Mortgage pre-approved you, didn't put down, the cost of the commission to your realtor. And at closing, you're needing to pay for that and you weren't prepared because you didn't see real numbers. So make sure you work with a lender who knows what they're doing and addresses this topic with you, so you're prepared. You can do a lender credit. So many times you can actually choose a higher interest rate that'll credit back some money to you at closing. So if your rate is 6%, well, at 6.5%, maybe you could get 1% back at closing from the lender. And that would help offset that cost of the realtor's commission in there. And the 7th one is a combination of all of them. You could have the seller pay some, and then you could have seller contribution to pay some, or have a lender credit for some, or use even down payment assistance to help lower your bottom line to offset some of that. So there's a million different ways you can dice this up going into it. But here's the biggest thing, whether you're a realtor or a buyer watching this, you need a realtor, and you need a trusted realtor who knows the area. Now more than ever, this is not something to skimp out on. Hey, I'll just use whoever's the cheapest. Who cares? It will bite you in the I'm telling you from doing this over 20 years. So while it seems like it's changing, and no matter what you're seeing in the news, a trusted realtor is the most important move you can have as a buyer. You need them to advise you through it and structure it. And they're going to go to bat addressing this topic with you as a whole. But in this video, I wanted to break down all of the different ways that you can really get it paid for and how. I hope you found that information helpful. If you did, I'd love to be your lender, and stick around for this next video. I think you're going to like it. Thanks, guys.